At the time this video goes live, it has been 5 years since I uploaded the first ever video to the DeadSummer Art YouTube channel. Because of this, I figured now is the best time to give an update on the channel, my thoughts on the past 5 years of content creation, and what my plans are for the future of the channel. Hi, by the way. I know a lot of you might not follow me on social media or have seen me before. This is the first time I'm actually showing my face on my channel. But hi, my name is Kale, and I am the person behind DeadSummer Art. Yeah, big 5 years. The years have flown by. I didn't think I was going to be making content for quite this long, but here we are. And I just wanted to give my thoughts on what's been going on and where I see things going in the future. I started this channel simply because I had passion for Flesh and Blood. I've been playing the game since it came out, day one, and the lore has always captured my imagination. And I was lucky enough that the LGS that I worked at stocked the game since day one, and we were lucky enough to get the lore book as part of the retailer appreciation kit. And I just had this for a long time. I'd always wanted to be creative on YouTube, and I just didn't know exactly what it is I wanted to do. I didn't want to be sporadic in what I did. I wanted to focus on a particular topic. And it just so happened that Flesh and Blood happened to be that topic that I was really capable of focusing on. And I was lucky enough to be the first channel to talk about Flesh and Blood lore. And to this day, many people in the community still see me as the de facto kind of leader of the lore niche in the Flesh and Blood community, which is really awesome. One of the biggest accomplishments for me making this channel was getting recognized by LSS. It was after I posted my first ever video that Ian Kenderdine, the community manager at the time, reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to work with us and spoil a card for Arcane Rising? And I said, yes, of course. And that has been such a blessing to be able to spoil as many cards as I have done over the years. The first card in Arcane Rising was Nebula Blade, which is such an iconic weapon, especially for Viserai, one of my all-time favorite heroes. And being able to spoil a card from Arcane Rising and up until Bright Lights, which was the last set that I had a spoiler for. It's just been... I can't put into words how awesome that really is. And I just want to thank LSS for really trusting me in that. And it's been so fun making spoiler videos and really pushing not only my skills, but the boundaries of what it means to have a spoiler and make a spoiler video for Flesh and Blood has been really cool. I don't want to take obviously all the credit, but I feel like I really inspired other content creators to make really cinematic and thematic and narrative styled spoiler videos for their spoilers based on what I started doing when I first started making spoiler videos. So that's been just amazing to see. However, with my content, I am unsatisfied with the amount that I have released over the 5 years. In the early days, making content was still, tough, but I didn't care as much about the quality of my content as I do now. Part of that was simply because I wasn't as skilled at making content. Back in the day, I used to just grab artwork and slow pan it across the screen and add some transitions. But nowadays, pretty much every piece of art that's in a video of mine, I animate it. And along with an increase in quality comes an increase in time of production. Making a video takes quite a long time for me. And a good reason for that is the fact that all the artwork is animated. And animating a piece of artwork takes probably a minimum of at least 30 minutes if it's a very simple animation. From getting the original artwork, cleaning it up in Photoshop, cutting it out in Photoshop, transporting that to After Effects, animating it, rendering it, and then putting it in the video. I can't put all of the blame for the lack of amount of content that I've produced on simply the difficulty, because I think a part of that as well comes with my passion for the game and motivation, as well as just general sort of life getting in the way of things. For quite some time, my financial situation was a bit of a mess, and every time I thought I was about to get to a point where I was financially stable, something would happen, and then, you know. But now I'm happy to say that I'm in a pretty stable position at the moment. But another thing that got in the way was lack of passion and motivation, and part of that came from the fact that I'm no longer really surrounded by people that play Flesh and Blood. So for a bit of context, the LGS that I worked at for a number of years, I was the event coordinator there, and I was the one who started the Flesh and Blood community there. And it was a small community, because I do live in a smaller town, but it was a good community. It was very solid. And unfortunately, at the start of 2023, the LGS had to close its doors, which meant that not only did I have to find a new job, but I also had to find somewhere else to play Flesh and Blood. And since the LGS I worked at was the only LGS in my town, that meant there was nowhere to play Flesh and Blood. I tried my best to remedy this by creating a tabletop gaming club, which to this day is doing very well. However, transferring the Flesh and Blood players from the LGS to the club has not been as easy. And unfortunately, towards the latter end of 2024 last year, the community pretty much died. Partially due to lack of product, just also no new players coming in and keeping things fresh for the regulars. With a lack of community around me constantly talking about the game, it meant that just in my life in general as a hobby, it did begin to take a step to the side, and other things kind of came into my focus more, which is a shame, because I really, really love Flesh and Blood, and I really love playing Flesh and Blood and talking about it. But it's really hard to keep up a passion when there's no kindling for your flames of passion, if you will. But I am trying my best at the moment to revive Flesh and Blood in my local community. Just off camera to my side here on the floor, there's a big box of bulk that I'm turning into commoner decks, and hopefully that will be a good starting point for a lot of new people joining the community, and hopefully I can get Flesh and Blood going again. Aside from all that, this year I am determined to make this the best year possible for my channel, and really put 110% into the channel, and make it my main focus outside of work that I normally do and just other life stuff. This will become my top priority outside of that. And I'm really excited to see where the channel goes. And with talking about the channel and where it will go, I'll touch on a few projects that I'm currently working on. So for those of you that have seen the last video on the channel, Roots of Change, that's what it's called, which was a narration of one of the Rosetta stories. Part 2 to that, which is Essence of Decay, is coming out very soon. It's in production at the moment, pretty close to being finished. I'm going through doing a bunch of subtitling at the moment. I've already got all the voice lines from all of the voice actors, but I might have to get a revision or two. Yeah, that is pretty close, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, but, you know, don't hold me to that. Another project is the continuation of the Regions of Wraith series. Aria is the next video. That one, I've been working on a script for a while now, but other things got in the way. But a script is quite a long way through. And the part that's going to take the longest for that is animating artwork. I've already animated a ton of artwork for it, so hopefully not too long after the Essence of Decay video comes out, I might be able to get the Regions of Wraith Aria video done. And then outside of that, a lot of you might be familiar with a collaboration I did with the Living Legends podcast, which was the Adventures in Wraith series of D&D videos, where we did a mini campaign called Escape from Southmore, set in the world of Wraith. And that was tremendous fun. I absolutely loved playing D&D with those guys. It was an absolute blast. And they really got into their characters and the story, which was awesome. For a while now, I have been promising there will be a sequel to that called Off the Grid, set in Metrics. But that had been put on the back burner for some time. But I'm at the point now where once I get stuff rolling on my channel, I'm very keen to start that up again and continue writing for it. I've already written a bunch of the sessions. It's just a matter of finishing that off. And that also takes a lot of time, as you can imagine. So expect that sometime this year, hopefully earlier than later. For a change of pace, there's a very big project that I've been considering and working on here and there in the background that I'm planning to hopefully release sometime this year. It has a working title at the moment. It's called The Flavor of Flesh and Blood, and it's going to be a meta-analysis and, I guess, video essay or documentary style video talking about Flesh and Blood, the aesthetic of it, the thematic themes of it, the lore, the art, and just what makes it stand out from the rest of its competitors in the TCG industry. I'm planning on getting some interviews with artists from Flesh and Blood, and if he would be down for it, maybe James White, we'll see. I'll reach out to him at some point and see if I can get him on for an interview, but don't hold your breath for that. He's a very busy man. But that's the plan for a big video project this year. Next up, cosplay. Cosplay is something that I've wanted to dabble in for a long time, and I did dabble in about a year ago, the start of 2024. Just personally, I did a little cosplay for myself. It was the Angel Devil from Chainsaw Man, if anyone knows the anime or manga. And that was fun, starting to learn how cosplay sort of works and getting a costume done and whatnot. But I wanted to dip my toes into the Flesh and Blood cosplay community. In the background, this here is the beginning of my Florian cosplay. So this is the chess piece that I've done some work on late last year. I haven't worked on it for a couple months just due to Christmas and whatnot and the end of the year being quite hectic. But this is the beginning of Florian, and hopefully sometime this year I'll have Florian all done and take some really cool photos of myself dressed up as Florian, which would be awesome. And finally, merch. Merch is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time for the channel, but I wanted to make sure I do it right. There's a lot of things I'm looking into, whether it's printing my own merch myself. I do know someone that has a print, like a heat print for t-shirts, so I could make merchandise, but we'll see. I really want to make merch for DeadSummer be something that you would just want to wear as a part of your outfit. So not something necessarily to support me, but something that will actually be really cool in your wardrobe. And to do this, I would have to create original art pieces, and that's my plan. I want to create original art pieces inspired by the world of Wraith and Flesh and Blood, and put them on t-shirts or hoodies or caps or beanies or any other pieces of merch, because I think that would be really cool. I don't know how easy that's going to be. I think that will require a lot of work, but it is something I'm definitely looking into, so possibility for this year. And lastly, goals. The biggest goal, I think, outside of just wanting to upload more content, is to unlock channel membership. I don't make any money producing content for DeadSummer. The only time I did was for Channel Fireball. Realistically, I've made almost no money, or pretty much no money, from producing content for this channel, and that's not the reason why I make content. I make content just because I'm really passionate about Flesh and Blood and expressing myself creatively. With that being said though, financial support would definitely help, but it's not a requirement for people to view my content. So I think channel membership would be a great way to have people support me if they want and get a few extra benefits on the side, but not a mandatory part of viewing my content. My content will always be free, and the only upside people who pay for something like channel membership would get would be small extra perks, or little bits and pieces here and there. All of my content that I plan to release will be free for everyone to watch forever on my channel, so don't worry about that. Outside of channel membership, I would also just like to increase my community reach and subscriber count. Last year, I tried a few new things with content and the way I advertised it, and that worked really well, and I got quite a few subscribers. I think I got maybe 500 subscribers this year compared to the rest of the years that I was producing content for, so that was a great increase in growth. Likes and subscribers doesn't really matter to me, but it is always nice to see that number go up, and I like seeing the number go up as well because it exposes the awesome lore of Flesh and Blood to more people, which is ultimately the goal of this channel. So increasing my subscriber count is definitely one of my goals. I feel like if I really push it, I could probably double my current subscriber count from a bit over 1.5 thousand to maybe 3,000, and that would be awesome. But any extra subscribers I get would be really cool too, but it's always good to aim high. Well, that pretty much does it for most of this video, but I do want to give thanks to some people. There have been a lot of people throughout the community that have been great support to me and my content throughout the years, and I'm not going to be able to name them all, but there are specific people that I want to give specific shout outs to, and I'll explain why as I do it. So obviously, the first people I want to shout out would be James White and the rest of the LSS team. They have been very supportive of my content since I started, especially James White. When I was first starting out, he actually sent me my own personal copy of the lore book, which I do still have right there, if I'm able to point, right there on display. And just giving me the opportunity to spoil cards has been really, really cool. So thank you so much to James, and thank you to all the community managers I've dealt with over the years. Ian Kenderdine, Sasha Markovich, Chris Bewley, Alex Norval. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to the entire creative team for making really cool lore for me to dive into. You do fantastic work. Yeah, thank you so much for your support. Next, I want to shout out some content creators that have been particularly supportive of me. First off being Bronson. Bronson is such a stand-up guy. He was one of, if not the first content creator to reach out to me and say how much of a fan he was of my content. And he has been just always supportive, always in my comments, hyping me up, complimenting me on all the work I do. Bronson, you're an awesome guy. Thank you so much for being there for me and being an OG supporter. You've been around in the community for quite some time yourself now, so you're also kind of an OG too, so that's really cool. And yeah, just thanks for being a good mate. Secondly, I've got to shout out, of course, Thomas Von Freshness, Tommy Fresh from Fresh and Buds podcast. Thank you so much for allowing me to come onto your podcast not once, but as a recurring guest to talk about lore every single set release. Actually, just yesterday I was talking to him about setting up a time to do the episode for the Hunted lore, and we're planning to film that next week and talk about the Hunted, which will be really cool. But just in general, just being such a chill guy, really supportive of my content. In the past couple sets when I haven't had a spoiler to show off, but still wanted to be a part of spoiler season, he's been more than happy to have me jump in and collab with him on his spoiler videos. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you, Tommy. Thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast, because it's a whole bunch of fun every time I get to do it. And hopefully I get to do it for a long time. Next would have to be the Living Legend podcast crew. Kel as Bill. You guys are just really cool, down-to-earth guys. Always happy to just chat about Flesh and Blood and anything else that's been going on. Playing the D&D games with you guys has been really fun. I highly recommend all of you to go watch it over on Kel Red Zone Rogue's channel. I'll put a little link over there. Should be right up there right now. For you guys to click on to go watch that. Obviously the second one I do plan to do at some point in the near future, so keep an eye out for that. But those guys have all been just really supportive, not just of my content, but of me as a person, and that's that really warms my heart, so thank you guys a lot. Next, Pitch Perfect with Elaine and Kiki, plus can't forget Melody as well, even though she's not currently on the podcast. You guys have been such a positive force in this community and a great representative for minorities, and that's very important nowadays. You guys just help to show that the Flesh and Blood community is the best TCG community out there, without a question, and I just want to also thank you guys for allowing me to be on your podcast, not once but twice, which has been really cool. You guys are so much fun to talk to, and I hope we can talk a lot more in the future. But yeah, thanks a lot guys for all your support. And the last person I want to shout out would be Nathan from legendarystories.net. Your website has been a tremendous help in creating all of my lore content. You have no idea how much time you have saved me when it comes to writing scripts and doing research. The LSS site, which is now laid out much better, has historically not been laid out the best. So being able to go onto your website, search up any bits of lore that I need to clarify or figure out has been fantastic. If you guys haven't gone and checked out his site yet, please do. I'll put a link to it in the description. legendarystories.net. Fantastic guy, doing awesome work. You know, he deserves his flowers too, so big thank you to you, and thank you for being a supporter of the channel. And well, that's about it. Thank you everyone for a fantastic 5 years of DeadSummer. I am very determined to make the next 5 years even better. And lastly, thank you for watching my content. That is the greatest part about creating content for this channel, is seeing people become interested in something that I'm also interested in, which is the lore of Flesh and Blood. So thank you everyone for sticking around and being supportive of my channel, whether you've been here since the beginning or you've just subscribed. Welcome. I'm glad you can be here for this joyride, and until next time, stay curious.